So tell me, I know a lot of people know your story and your journey to, success, and most recently being listed in the top 500, the Forbes around the nation for some of the top realtors, and that's a crazy achievement.
Yeah.
I've been watching videos for a while, and looking on your journey from 2013, 2014 to now, what does that feel like to you when you look back on those videos? There's a huge
It
smile on your
feels
face.
it feels unreal. It feels unreal,
Yeah.
because this wasn't necessarily the plan at the beginning. And I'm one of those type of people. It's hard for me to plan something out super long term. I can plan for the short term, but I'm one of those that like moves at a rapid pace. So if I say, oh, in 5 years I want to do this, I'm most likely going to accomplish that in like the first year because I just move very quickly.
Hmm.
And so for me, it's more so of a matter of like, okay, what opportunities present themselves at that time. And I never would have imagined that back in 2013, as I'm struggling, that, yeah, I'd be here today.
Hmm.
So, yeah.
Yeah. And it seems like you're so humble and so appreciative about it compared to, accepting it and
Hmm.
knowing like, yeah, you know what, this is me. I deserve to be here. Of course, there's some of that, but you seem to be very humble and you know where you came from.
Yeah, yeah, and I would say even a more appropriate word for that is I'm very grounded.
Hmm.
I'm not a very boisterous person, and so I'm not just like all the time super flashy and this and that. But one thing about me is I know my worth. I do know where I came from. I know what I have now, and unfortunately, especially with social media and YouTube, some people they can't see past the surface, and it's not necessarily my job to convince them of that, or to convince them that I'm this and I'm that. I'm more of one of those type of people like the proof is in the pudding. Like just, if you literally want to walk in my office today, you'll see the operation.
Yeah.
Um, but I do know where I came from. I believe that my gift and what I'm setting out to do now is help others. But not everybody wants to be helped, and not everybody is at that place right now where they will accept help. So for me, it's more so about continuing down this journey. And I know for a fact that a lot of people reach out to me. They say that I inspire them. They say that I've helped them. They say, whatever. And that's what I'm out to do. It's not to get a million Instagram followers. It's not to get a million, YouTube subscribers or anything. It's to help those people who really want it and really need it. And, I'm just always going to be myself while doing that.
Hmm. And on this journey to, success and continued success, what does that look like to you when you think of success? Have you always had a blueprint for it, or is it ever changing?
No, no, success with me changes damn near month to month. Oh, sorry. Can I say damn?
Hey, go for it, man. This is your platform. You do whatever you want.
Yeah, it literally changes because, success to me as a 24-year-old is definitely different now that I'm 31, and I'm very grounded and realistic. I do set big goals. I set big short-term goals. And so my success, yeah, it changes. It may look different tomorrow. Because what you realize is as you're going down this journey, and when you reach certain, accomplishments, when you make certain things happen, years ago that may have looked like a success, or if you do this then you've made it, you're super successful now. Whereas today it's like, okay, yeah, that was a good feeling, but now the bar is raised even
Hmm.
higher. So, it changes for me,
Yeah,
as it
and
should, I feel like, for a lot of people.
yeah, you continue to improve and improve on your skills, especially in this industry where if you stop improving, if you stop rehearsing your scripts and doing the basics, you could get passed over. So
Mhm.
as far as continuing to work on your skills, what are you focusing on right now that's going to get you to where you want to be in 2, 3, 5 years?
Sure. My skills right now and my focus right now is growing and running a business. So, years ago, 5, 6, 7 years ago, I was just a solo agent. So my focus was getting listings and learning scripts and, growing my clientele. Versus today, I am managing a staff of 15, 16 people. I'm here in my own office and there's a lot going on. So my focus now is making sure that I'm being the best business owner and entrepreneur for my team to help them reach those goals that they're trying to reach.
Hmm.
And
And
there's a lot in that. So,
I mean, hey, it's a
yeah.
huge role to take on, especially going from being a solo agent to a team leader and a manager of founders, correct?
Yep. So I actually own Founders, and I started that about a year and a half ago, and I've grown it to what it is today. So my roles today, and it's so crazy because a lot of people will ask me, hey, what does your typical day look like, or can you see me your calendar? And I'm like, you're 3 months in the business. My calendar is not going to be anything relevant to you. I can send you a calendar of someone at your level, what you should be doing, but for me, it's like I'm having meetings with my managers. I am doing accounting. I'm talking to my lawyers. I'm interviewing new people. I'm running, this and that, all these different high level CEO activities that wouldn't be relevant to someone who is 2, 3 months in the business.
Hmm.
So, that's where I am right now with things.
Do you ever miss circle prospecting and door knocking and calling expireds day in, day out?
You know, I still am pretty engaged in it because like I said, since I am running a team here, every agent on my team isn't an expert. And so it's like I'm constantly training, I'm constantly helping them improve on those skills. I'm listening to the phone calls. I'm telling them what to say next. And so it's still kind of doing the same thing,
Hmm.
except I'm not the one actually making the call. But those are still skills that I'm glad that I know, and I don't just know like from a lot of real estate coaches out here, I actually know from experience instead of just reading it in a book or watching somebody else. And so when I'm coaching and training on it, it's almost as if I'm still in that role again and I'm still doing it again, but it's more so them doing it and I'm leading them down that journey and down that path.
Hmm. And what have you learned so far in teaching others and really being engaged every single day with your team and trying to improve their skills?
Yeah, so a big skill that I learned me personally is knowing how to adapt and how to work with different personalities. And I know that may have not been the response, you thought that I would say, but when you're working with so many different skill sets, so many different personalities, different ways of learning, it teaches you as a leader how to adapt to those, because I can't just automatically write somebody off because they didn't do it the way that I would have done it, or they got frustrated with it quicker than I would have gotten frustrated with it. It's more so meeting them where they are and finding where those opportunities are that I'm able to help them improve on their skills. And I feel like that's something that teaches me every single day. This isn't anything that I learned in real estate school,
Hmm.
or at any previous brokerage that I've been at. And so it's a true journey and learning experience for myself that constantly improves every single day.
Yeah. And at least when I see the videos, the vlogs specifically, surrounding the team and you're doing role play, you're doing new photos, you're documenting what Gary Vee always says: document, not create. You're documenting your day-to-day lives inside the office. What are you trying to instill in the culture there that's different than any other brokerage, if you are?
Yeah, I mean, culture is the biggest thing around here. And it starts literally from that first interview by not bringing on the wrong people. You know, I've sat in interviews with agents who want to be a part of this team that are big top producers, you know, and they were cocky as hell. Their attitudes weren't nice. I didn't think that they would vibe here, and I passed on them. You know, whereas I've interviewed with people with no experience and they just had that certain thing about them that I was like, you'll fit right in. I know that I can help you become successful. I know that you're going to be a great asset to the team. It may not be immediate, but I see in you what I envisioned for this team. And so the culture starts at that first interview, you know, and then when I've as I've matched up people with those similar, you know, traits about them, now we have an office full of people that vibe very well together. Yeah, we have different personalities, we may score differently on the disc test, but we vibe well together. And with that, there's no drama. We are all after the same goal. We're working together as a team. And so this culture that formed is a culture that everyone is in agreement about. One thing that I do to even instill the culture even more here is I involve everybody in big decisions. You
Mm,
know, so you mentioned the vlog about taking photos and everything. You know, we involved everybody in that discussion. Like, how do you see our photos looking? Like, what image do you want to put out there? So that way people can enjoy it. When we do business planning, we do a big business planning every single year, and it spans over 3 day long meetings. But it's literally talking about what our goals are and where do we see ourselves the next year. What do we want to do? What do we want to accomplish? And that's a team wide discussion. I feel like where a lot of people miss the mark with this team building is they make it all about the team leader. Like, this is what I want. This is how I'm going to do it. This is what, and then what do you get? You get agents who are frustrated. Then people start leaving and nobody wants to work with you. But if you can create an environment where everyone is invested in their ideas or in agreement and are happy about it, we all grow together. And something magical happens when you have a community of people who are after this common goal and they're all doing it together, building each other up. We're literally climbing up the mountain together, and we've created a bond that I feel like is like no other that I've seen lately, at
mhm.
least.
And was that the intention from the very get go when you started Founders, or did you kind of learn that process and learn that, hey, it's not about me, it's about the people I'm teaching and bringing on, because that's what really makes the team.
Yeah, I think honestly that is a personal trait of mine that I've always had. You know, so it just crossed over into the business. You know, I'm a real estate agent, and what am I doing in my real estate career? I'm serving clients. I'm helping them reach their goals, home ownership, selling the house, whatever it is. I'm serving them. What am I doing on YouTube? I have hours and hours of advice, training, tips. You know, yeah, the vlogs, I'm showing you the day to day, but there's a tremendous amount on my YouTube channel just giving advice from how to get in real estate to growing a team. So me naturally, I've always been that servant of just
Hmm.
other people, and that just kind of translated right over into my real estate team. It was very natural for me.
Yeah, and Jason, you're not faking it.
No.
By now, if you were faking it, it would have shown. But
That's what I'm trying to tell people. It's like, what do you think is happening here? You
but
know, like,
you have this electric personality, and if I had to
yeah.
guess, you're probably in high I slash S.
I'm actually a pretty high D.
Are
So
you okay? Wow. See,
yeah,
I'm still learning the
yeah,
disc, so excuse
yeah.
me for my lack of
Oh no,
knowledge.
you're good. You're good. But it's so funny you say that because somebody literally um started sending me like hate messages the other day on Instagram. Like, it was a fake account and they didn't have like any photos on there. They didn't barely have a name, and then next you know the account was deleted. But literally writing on there, this guy's a scam. He only sold 2 houses last year and blah blah blah. And like, literally I was sitting there like, okay, like how does any of this happen? Then they went and commented on a photo that like I had of like a Louis Vuitton box or something on there, and they're like, "You're in deep credit card debt," and I was just like, "Okay, like who are you first off, and then just take a look around." But whatever, I'm so far past that now,
Hmm.
and it really doesn't get to me because I know what we have, and even higher than a money level, that's why I'm not such a big talker about like money. I know a lot of YouTubers out there are quick to boast that, oh, I live in this place in the sky, and I drive this car, and I make $1 million, and it's like, yeah, I have all that, but for me, I feel like it's even better to really show you like the people, show you the actions, show you like how to make something like this happen instead of just how to fake and stunt about a car that most people will never achieve,
Hmm.
or never be able to purchase. So, it's just my way of doing things.
Yeah. No, it's completely authentic. You can tell. And
Yeah.
I think for those haters out there, and I think you've made a video about it. Um, I had the title of the video. Hold on.
Yeah.
It's funny. This came up here. It's not paying off like I thought. And in that video, you spoke about blocking out the haters and how you started from nothing and how you're not in this for the short term, 2 to 3 years, throwing in the towel. I'm done. I'm gonna go do something else. No, you're a realtor. This is your job, and
Yeah.
you're going to be here until you succeed. And obviously, it's paid off for you.
Yeah. Yeah. For
And
sure.
so, how even now, like you said, you still get those comments, I'm sure, on Instagram, YouTube, all the above. How do you stay focused and really stay in your own lane? Do you read those comments all the time, or do you kind of just push them to the side?
Yeah, it's very easy for me to push them to the side, and I can even relate it to working in real estate. As you're out there making cold calls, you're gonna get a lot of no's, and then years later you're gonna look back at all the yeses you got and all the people who you've been able to help, and then all the referrals that you get, and a no doesn't do anything to you anymore. It literally doesn't even affect you.
Hmm.
And that's the same thing where I am with just the haters or the negative comments. Like, I know for a fact I've helped thousands of people reach success in their business. I've inspired people. I've helped people start on this journey and giving them more information than anybody's ever given them in the past. So it's like I know the gift that I have. I know for a fact, like, just from all of the positive comments that I get, like, there's a reason my channel is doing what it's doing. There's a reason people invest in me month over month in my coaching programs. There's a reason why people, come to my seminars and events. So I don't need someone who is a Joe Blow to come around and tell me how I'm not doing it the way that they would do it, or how I'm this and that, because I'm very secure in what I have going on. Trust
Hmm.
me. Trust.
Yeah. And I'm sure you have such a great support group around you, ensuring that you stay successful and you keep producing, the great content that you continue to do.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, nobody's letting me get off track around here. Uh,
That's a tough part.
yeah.
So, in midst of all this success and, like I said, continued success in the future, looking back, what has been one or two really iconic moments that have been very tough for you that you may have thought you might throw in the towel?
Um, yeah, I would say those moments, and it's not just like one or two, but it's any time where I felt like I wasn't ready for something, or like something was a little bit bigger than I might have imagined. We all want success and we want to chase success, and then kind of when it shows up, you're kind of like, oh shit, what do I do now? It's almost as if you're, as a new agent making cold calls, right? And everybody's telling you no, but then you freak out when that person actually tells you yes, and you're like,
Hmm.
shit, what do I do? So I would say being booked on my first stage, to like speak, that was a real iconic moment. But then it didn't want to make me throw in the towel and like quit as a real estate agent, but it made me really question, should I really get up and talk in front of hundreds and thousands of people? Like, am I ready for that? I didn't feel like I was equipped. I knew that I was knowledgeable, but there were definitely some skills that I was lacking and things that I needed to tighten up on to even go down that journey. And but I did it. It was in my head a complete failure, but magical things happen when you fail, and you start to work those muscles and become stronger in areas that you never would have thought that you would become strong in. So that was one of the moments. Another moment was, back when I was kind of like a newer agent. I'm not sure how much of my story that you know, but I was a newer agent, and I had gotten the business, and I had finally got my first listing. Now, granted, real estate is very expensive to even become active in. So I had told all my family and friends I was going to become a real estate agent, and I was going to succeed in this. I even moved across the country. I was going to start real estate in this new city, and I had got my first listing. And I was doing everything that I could to try to sell this listing. I was holding this listing open every single weekend, Saturday and Sunday, every single weekend, in hopes of getting it sold. And there was this one weekend that I was getting ready to go to the open house, and I was walking out of my apartment that I could barely afford, and my lights turned off. And I was kind of like, this is really weird, but I opened the door, saw everybody else's lights were on, and I really knew that they got turned off because I hadn't paid the bill,
Hmm.
and I didn't have the money to pay the bill. But I said, hey, I'm not gonna let this stop me. I'm gonna go do this open house today, and so I was at the open house. First hour comes and goes, nobody comes in. Second hour comes and goes, nobody comes in. And by that third hour, I was sitting there in this big vacant old house that nobody was coming in, and it was kind of cold outside, and so the home was extremely cold on the inside. I didn't even have a chair, and I literally remember walking to the door and locking the door, and right in front of the door, I had a complete breakdown. Like, I fell to my knees sobbing, and I was literally like, "What the fuck am I doing?"
Hmm.
I said to myself, I said, Chastin, you have completely failed at this. You told everybody you were going to come in this career. You were going to be successful. You moved across the country. You spent all your money trying to get in it. Your lights aren't even on at home. You barely have gas in your car. Like, what are you doing at this point? And that was the biggest moment that I was just like, I don't think this is for me. I totally underestimated this, and I'm gonna have to literally like walk out with my head down in shame out of this career that I made such a big deal about. And I would say that was literally one of the most iconic moments that I had. That was just like, I give up,
Yeah.
because it was a big one.
Oof, that hit a little too close to home. That's where I am right now. I'm a newer agent and just grinding every day to get something going. And it's happening slowly, but it's uh, it's really refreshing to hear someone with this much success and drive that you have to again be humble and grounded, like you said,
Yeah,
and really say, hey, I was there too. I was, my lights got turned off, and it sounds like you knew why they got turned off, but you didn't want to be honest with
yeah,
yourself at that moment.
I
Yeah.
didn't, because in my head, I honestly felt like I was living two separate lives. I was putting a face on every day, smiling, dressing nice, or what I thought was nice, and people asking me how I'm doing, and I'm like, "Oh, great, real estate's great. I love it. I love it." And then knowing that like I'm barely surviving in this, like I am literally one slice of bread away from just going hungry, and I'm not making it. But the real moment, like I was meant to go through that moment, because at that time, like, I had to get it all out. And I said to myself, Chaston, you will never feel this way again at any point in your life. Like that was my declaration to myself,
Wow.
that I will never ever ever feel like this at any point in my life again. And from that day forward, my mentality completely shifted. And I feel like with that mind shift, there was a shift in my actions to where I wasn't waiting around for something to happen. I was going to make something happen. You know, I wasn't doing it on anybody else's terms. I wasn't waiting for someone to train me or take me by the hand or any of that, because I said, this is the lowest point in my life that I've ever been, and I can't go anywhere else but up from here. And that's exactly where I took things after that.
So it was a pivotal point in your life and early on in the career where you said, "This enough is enough."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Enough is enough. No more faking, no more trying, no
Hmm.
more waiting around for this one house to sell. Like, no more of that. I mean, I started doing crazy stuff like standing outside of apartment complexes, like literally rolling up to people like I'm about to ask for change and asking them, "Hey, did you lease an apartment there?" And no, you didn't. So maybe I can help. Like literally coming out of the shadows, doing stuff like, and I mean, I'm not knocking anybody's hustles today, but you know, when like people tell me, "Oh, I did this Facebook post today and I did this Facebook post," I'm like, okay, well, you know,
Yeah.
how about you go out in the streets? Like I was literally that guy because I didn't have anything else to lose. Like what else was I doing? You
Hmm.
know? So yeah, I've been through all the trenches, and again, like that's why it keeps me very well grounded today. And this is why I mean, I love talking to newer agents. I love training and coaching newer agents because um I realized that if I would have had that, then my start would have been a little bit different, you know, or
Hmm.
I might have reached success a little bit sooner. But no, my real plan was to go exactly through that, so that way I can be a light to the path for others today.
You're opening doors for others behind you. Yeah.
Yep.
That's great. That's something that I think everyone should aspire to be helpful in some way, especially in this industry where it's so tough.
Yeah.
It's good. There's good to have your ups and downs, and mostly downs when you start off. It seems like, but
Mm-hmm.
having that figure like yourself there and helping you along the way, it can make
Mm-hmm.
all the difference, like you said. So, have you had any really great books that have helped you out? And I know you've written a couple books, The Real Before the State, what you wish you knew before you started real estate, and
Yeah.
the Four Walls.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
about Dallas real estate specifically, buying and selling in Dallas. So,
Mm-hmm.
what are some of the books that have helped inspire you, and how did you come to write those two books?
Yeah, so one of my first books that I ever read, and I mean, I'm not a big reader. I'll watch videos all day. Like you give me a docu-series, I'm all about it. But one of the first books that I ever read was by Tony Robbins. It was called Awaken the Giant Within. And that book did something to me. I'm forever grateful for that book. I really like this book called The Power of Who.
Hmm.
So, The Power of Who basically talks about, you know, everyone who you need to know to pretty much accomplish anything that you want in life. And it's really about using your people and your network and the people around you to help you get to where you need to be. And it's such an interesting phenomenon because if you think about it, it's like you can probably trace the people who you know to somebody else, and maybe even lead up to the president, you know.
Hmm.
And so that book really taught me about networking, using my resources, and really valuing people. um, my book, The Real Before the Estate, how it came about was literally kind of just what we talked about a little bit, telling those stories and giving those tips and tactics and advice on things that I wish I knew when I first started or even before I started real estate. So it's a real world practical book that goes into detail about just like any kind of topic a newer agent would want to hear about. So joining a brokerage, do people really give you leads, how to work with buyers, how to work with sellers, how I got started, the lies people tell you. And I just laid it all out there because I just felt like there's so many false narratives out there, you know, getting in real estate. And you have people that you're sitting across from and they're telling you, oh, yeah, join here. You're going to be great. You're going to be so successful. And it's like, they don't even know you. Like, how are you telling me that when you don't even know me?
Yeah.
So it was really a book inspired by me continuing the messages that I put out there, just being real raw, real practical in my own voice, of telling those things that I wish someone would have told me.
Hmm. So what's the process like from beginning to finish? I mean, not, in detail, but generally the process of starting to write a book and all the way up until publishing it.
Yeah, I mean, it's literally starting to write it. So um
It's that simple.
it's literally that. That's I
Yeah.
mean, that's the hardest part. Like,
Hmm.
cover art isn't hard, getting it published isn't hard, promoting it isn't hard. The hard part is writing it. It's literally sitting down and getting that voice in your head to start speaking on that keyboard, and that's what took a long time. There's guides out there for all the other parts. There's templates you can download to size it for your fonts, for this and that, but the longest process with the book is actually writing it. It's getting that out there. So I wrote it, and I'm a little country boy from the South, so my vocabulary, my tone, the words I use aren't necessarily always the right ones. So I had my book edited like 3 times, by 3 different editors, and I got a few opinions on it just to make sure that it was, a fairly decent, good book.
Hmm.
And from there, I connected with Amazon, their publishing company, and I got a graphic artist to create my cover art, and then submitted it for review, and it got approved by Amazon, by Apple, by Barnes and Noble, by
Wow.
all those places. And yeah, then I had a book. But again, when you're going through that process, when you get to that place where you're in that approval process, there's help and there's resources for getting it out there and making sure that it's formatted right and all that kind of stuff. But the real the real race is actually writing it,
Hmm.
getting your thoughts and ideas out on paper.
And I can imagine your schedule when you were writing that book was extremely arduous because if you're when did you
Yeah,
write the book? When did it come out?
that book I think came out 2 years ago or a year
Mm.
and a half ago.
So this is
And so
before Founders.
yeah, and it took me a long time to write. Like,
Hmm.
it really took me a long time to write. I mean, and by a long time I mean almost a year, because it wasn't like I was sitting down for 2 weeks just constantly writing or anything. It was literally bit by bit until it all came together,
Yeah.
almost a year later. So I took my time with it. I did what I could when I could. And yeah, it could have gotten done a lot quicker, but my schedule, it just didn't allow for it. And so, but I always say better late than never.
Hmm. I mean, it's done. Yeah, exactly. And it's a success. In your mornings and your nights, do you have a special routine that you follow every single day to ensure that you start off or end correctly?
Yeah, my routine, so I kind of wake up at the same time every day, but I don't like to use alarm clocks or anything like that, because I wake up grumpy if something wakes me up. I always say I have to wake up naturally.
You're able to wake up naturally the same time
Oh
every
yeah.
single day.
Oh yeah. 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 I
Wow.
think my body's just trained for it. And so, I typically wake up before the sun comes up, and I will take a cold shower. Well, it's not like an ice shower, but it's definitely not a hot shower. But
Hmm.
that's what kind of gets me going. And I'll listen to music, sing a little bit, and then I'll turn on, either a podcast or whatever. I'm not a big, like, super big like breakfast person, and so I oftentimes don't really eat like a big breakfast or anything like that. And I head into the office. So the whole time that I'm driving to the office, I take the long way to my office because I'm knocking out phone calls. A big thing for me is staying in touch with my with my sphere. So I'm knocking out like past client calls or anything that I need to just take care of. So I'm doing that on the way to work. I'm not really listening to music. And then there's my full work day. After work lately, I've been meeting with my personal trainer, And so doing that after work, and then I'll go out for dinner um, with a friend or two, and then kind of call it a night. I don't do much work at home though. Like
Mm.
I'm pretty well trained not to work at home unless I have to, or if it's something quick. But I prefer to actually work in the office. If it's something that I have to do on a weekend or that's going to take me a while, I literally come up here, and I'll come up here in the middle of the night, or I'll come up here, spend a whole Saturday. But like, this is my workspace, and home is home.
It seems like it's really important keeping those two places separate and not commingling work and home life.
Yeah, and I found it out from experience, because what I have found is when I have a lot of work to do, I can't sleep. I start stressing out about it. I'm not able to be comfortable at home, because then my mind is just racing. I know that the laptop is right there, and once I open it up, I'm gonna be on there for a while.
Hmm.
And so it's something that just kind of like, I feel like I've naturally trained myself. So my body and my mind knows that, okay, when I'm here, I can relax. I don't need to worry. I don't need to get caught up. But then when I get in the office, like, you can ask the people who are here around me, like, it's full on grind mode. Like, I'm doing what I have to do here. Like, I'm not just chilling.
Yeah,
I'm going the whole time.
get the blinders on.
Yep.
Yeah. And as far as your team inside the office, how do they support you every single day to make sure that you stay on track?
They don't bother me unless they need to.
They don't talk
No,
to me.
yeah, yeah. No, I mean, I have staff for that. So I have a sales manager that I put into place probably about 3 months ago, and so he actually manages my sales agents now.
Okay.
Um, and then I have an office manager who manages the office, so the operations. We have a marketing manager who does all the marketing, and so for the most part, things funnel up. So if there's something that needs to be taken care of, or brought to my attention, it's typically coming from one of them. So that way, I'm not having like a revolving door coming
Hmm.
in, But before those, especially before my sales manager, like, it was me, and I was highly distracted. There was always something every single moment, and I wasn't getting much done. So putting him in that position was to make sure that I'm able to still perform at a high level and run the business, maintaining and grow the business. And he's able to take care of those simple things when it comes to sales and things like that.
Hmm. And when you were a solo agent, did you ever imagine leveraging your time and your resources like you are now?
I didn't know what a time leverage was. No, I mean, I was that person where I was up until 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock at night working, and then up again at 4 a.m. working. I had no work-life balance. I had zero free time. It was very chaotic. I was stressed out. I was anxious all the time. I mean, it wasn't pretty. It
Hmm.
wasn't pretty. And um, for a while, I thought like that's what I had to be. I thought like, okay, this is, I hear people talking about grinding out, work hard, sun up, sun down. Like, I literally thought that that's what it had to be to become successful or to build a business, until I started practicing the art of time blocking and learning how to leverage, and not just trying to keep all the money in my pocket, but starting to empower and bring on other people who can assist. And ultimately, I feel like that's helped grow the business a lot more than me just trying to do everything myself and make it all about me.
Hmm. And do you stress out about handing off projects to other people anymore? Did you um, have that feeling in the beginning?
I did, of
Yeah.
course, yeah, because it's like it's like you're giving your child to a new babysitter,
Yeah. It's your brand.
Um,
It's your business. It's your
yeah,
brand.
yeah, but again, that's something that over time you become more comfortable with.
Okay.
And and I want to interject and say this, to whoever may watch this or listen to this. That's one thing that, if I was to tell my younger agent self, it would be, don't feel like you have to know everything all at once. Don't feel like you have to know everything all at the beginning, because some of the things that I know now, I didn't know. But if someone, I mean, I probably even had somebody tell me back then, but it wasn't until I was in that position and I had to start practicing it for myself that it truly made a difference. And so don't feel like you have to know everything all at once, like whether it's a script or a contract or even how to run a 20-person team when you're just a solo agent. Because some of these things you have to practice, you have to grow. It's like working out. You have to start and then you have to grow those muscles, and they're going to grow over time. Okay. And
Hmm.
so even for that, leveraging, passing things off, like I had to learn how to become comfortable with that, because even my mindset was, as I would start passing things off, it was like, gosh, you're taking 2 hours to do that. I can get that done in 5 minutes. Just give it back, you know, until it got to that point where I had to stop micromanaging. I had to stop, feeling like I had to be in control of everything and let people do their jobs, and that comes, I mean, it gets even deeper than that, hiring the right people, making sure it matches their skill set, hiring people based on their strengths, not just what they say to you in the interview. So, if you're putting the right qualified people in their positions, they will do a damn good job at it, but you just have to be able to let them and stop putting your hands in it all the time. And then months down the line, you'll see like, oh gosh, you're actually really great at your job. And then it makes you value them a lot more. And then you notice that your business is growing better than it would have if you were the one doing everything, because now you're focusing on those more high level activities.
Hmm. That's awesome. And I think it's awesome advice for someone who is looking to branch out and not be a solo agent anymore, but they do have that control aspect there. They want to do it themselves because they want it done right.
Yeah.
Um, Looking ahead in the future, I know coronavirus has probably affected this a little bit, but how many speaking engagements were you doing before COVID, and after? Do you have any plans on doing virtual speaking engagements?
Yeah. So I was doing probably 1 to 2 a month before. Um, when COVID kind of first came around, yeah, I did a good amount of virtuals. I was on a good amount of virtuals, and now we kind of took a step back from doing big speaking engagements. I've been doing a lot of these just podcast interviews and with people all across the world.
Hmm.
We are gearing up and planning to launch kind of like a nationwide speaking tour where we're going to go to a few cities and just hang out and do some business building and meet other agents across the country. And
You're excited,
so
man.
yeah, so hopefully that'll be able to happen around October or so. that's
Okay.
that's kind of what we're looking at. I do other people's events all the time, but this one I want to be for like my network and the people who are, following me, I guess you could say.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
And do you have a goal for founders to grow in agent size?
Yeah, so we're actually about to cap out here pretty soon. So we set the goal at 20 for this year. And so the next step from that is opening up a few satellite offices. So
Mm.
we've been looking into South Texas. We've been looking into South Florida, particularly Miami, Fort Lauderdale. I've been there a couple times this year, just trying to scope things out. And one of the Carolinas, and so California, maybe not California, definitely Arizona, maybe California, I don't know. But yeah, so that's the next step with that. It's just a bunch of stuff we're taking care of or I'm taking care of on the legal side to make sure that the way that the entity and structure and setup works well and it's all legit and we won't have any problems down the line.
Hmm.
So that's quite the process, but that's the next step for founders.
Nice. And I'm sure you're trying to build on the momentum. Has there ever been a point in your life where you realized the importance of momentum in real estate?
Yeah, I mean, I just don't like to wait around, I don't think that I'm in a rush, but I'm not that type of person. Like I get bored so quickly and so easily. If I feel like, I mean, one of my old jobs used to be at Blockbuster Video, and I got
Oh,
so
wow.
bored of that job. Yeah. Like literally getting movies out of the Dropbox and checking them. It's like, how many times can I do this before I feel like I've made it? And so um, I'm one that gets bored very quickly. So if I feel like things are just complacent or just not moving anywhere, not progressing, like it's just the same day to day, I'm gonna shake it up. You
Hmm.
know, that's where for founders actually came from. I mean, I was a successful solo agent. I can still be a successful solo agent, but I got bored, and I was just like, okay, you know, you realize that the process is the same. It's just a different client. You know, you find the client, you close on them, and then it's on to the next. Now you gotta find another client, you close on, and then so it just keeps going. And then you know, it just got to the point where I was just like, what next? What next? Like, how can I make this more interesting?
Hmm.
And that's where founders came about. And so we're gonna keep doing that because that's just my style. So
Wow.
we'll see what ends up happening.
I mean, for the other person, a normal person, you might say, to switch things up, maybe I'll door knock today. Maybe I'll circle prospecting instead of calling canceled or FISBOs. But now you're
Yeah.
like, nah, let's start a team.
Yeah.
That's pretty damn
Yeah.
cool, man.
Exactly. Exactly. Yep.
What have you learned from your staff and your agents so far in the about 2 years that Founders has been around?
What have I learned? Gosh, I've learned so much. Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing that I've learned is let people focus and work on their strengths and talents. I can't try to fit everybody into a certain mold. You know, my main job is making sure that they are a right culture fit, making sure that they are goal oriented, making sure that they truly want to be a part of founders. We know that there's hundreds of different ways that you can generate leads. We know that there's many ways that you can sell real estate. And so I can't expect everyone to be like me. I
Hmm.
can't expect everyone to prefer to lead generate the way that I do. And so really letting people shine with in their strengths, you know, because something magical happens with that. You're a lot happier doing it. You find more success in it. The job is a lot more fun. You know, you enjoy it versus me making you come in here and go door knock every day when I know for one you suck at it and you hate door knocking, you know. So yeah, I would say the biggest lesson that and the biggest thing that they've taught me is let them be great based on, you know, what their strengths are.
Hmm. That's awesome. And it seems like you're really trying to strive to be the best. What do you call yourself? Manager?
Owner,
Owner.
CEO,
Yeah. Okay. There you go. So you're
leader.
you're striving to be the best CEO and owner you possibly can be every single day, and I bet that's infectious.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's a circle of winners around here.
Mm,
You
wow.
know, everybody walks with their head high, and everybody is definitely proud to be a part of this.
Hmm. And how has COVID affected Dallas specifically? I was there in February for a event from Keller Williams, my past brokerage, and it's very, very big over there. Real estate is huge, and there's so
Yeah.
many agents. How has it affected Dallas specifically?
Yeah, I think it's pretty similar to a lot of the other places here in the country. You know, we experienced the shutdown, we experienced the you're not an essential worker, so stay at home. We experienced no open houses, you know, so pretty similar, but we have opened back up for the most part.
Hmm.
We're here on my team. We were kind of down maybe 1 month. We were still grinding it out. It was very important to me that I made sure that everybody maintained the right mindset and stayed in the right headspace. And so we were on a Zoom call almost like every single day, and just talking, you know. And I was checking in with everybody personally, and I was making sure that nobody was falling off the deep end. We're literally having a record breaking July. I think we have like 19 under contract right now. And
Wow,
um,
congratulations.
thank you. And yeah, but you know, it was all because I wasn't going to allow this to completely derail us. One thing that I'm super proud of, like we were quick to adapt And it seemed like every single day there was something else being thrown at us, like, oh, now you can't do this, or now you can't do this. But
Mm-hmm.
we didn't really sit around saying, what are we going to do now, what are we going to do now. It was more so like, here's what we can do, so here's what we're going to do. We weren't really freaking out, like a lot of the other agents were. I mean, because there was nothing to expect. I mean, nobody had any clear answers about anything, and nobody knew what was going on. And so, me, I'm just gonna keep it moving until
Yeah.
somebody says no, you can't do anything or go anywhere.
Yeah. I
Like,
mean, you can either sit around and whine that it happened to you and you're in such a bad position, or you can accept it, move on, and get to work.
yeah,
There's two options.
yep. And I've learned how to be like that literally from this career.
Really.
Just experiencing so many ups and downs, so many highs and lows, disappointments, accomplishments. Like, you learn to take punches a different way, and you learn to view setbacks a different way. It's not the end of the world, you
Mm-hmm.
know. Hopefully it's not. No, I'm just kidding. But it's not the end of the world, and there's always another perspective you can look at things. One great thing that I feel like came out of it for us was we literally were able to plan out and clean up some things that were just a mess. Some of our processes, some of our back end stuff and back of the house stuff. So we're able to actually like work on the business because we had been so busy working in the business.
Mm-hmm.
So, great things came out of it. I mean, some mental shifts in mindset came out of it. Some real accountability came out of it. A new bonds were created out of it because, for it was a moment that we were all in the same position, no matter where our background is, no matter from how much money you make, no matter where you lived and what kind of family you have. Like, from the owner on down to the newest agent or intern, we were literally all in the same position.
Mm-hmm.
So, it created and solidified the bond even stronger because we were all working together at that point on the same goal. Like, and it's a goal that was just thrown at us out of nowhere.
Yeah.
So
You're forced into it.
yeah. Yep.
Now, we're kind of running out of time here, but one of the last questions that I really wanted to touch on, you're a realtor, you're an owner of a group now. For entrepreneurs out there that are really looking to get started in whatever they want to do, what's some really sound advice that you could give from experience in their journey just starting off?
Yeah. Sound advice. Become as extremely resourceful as you can be. And I talk to people all the time who want to call themselves entrepreneurs or want to be entrepreneurs, but they're all the time telling me, but I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to do this. I don't have this. And I hate that. Like, I personally hate that, because I feel like right now, especially in 2020, there's information overload out there. Like, you can literally find out how to do anything, literally anything. And I feel like people get caught up, especially when they're choosing to start a business or go down a certain road. They get caught up on what they don't know versus what they do know. And let me explain. Like, yeah, you may not know how to change oil, right, in a car, but you know how to get on YouTube and search a video. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So it becomes resourceful and find a video that teaches you how to change oil and do it,
Mm-hmm.
So that would be the biggest piece of advice for me. I mean, for me to give to other aspiring entrepreneurs, because trust me, even at this level that I'm at right now, there's a lot that I don't know. I didn't know how to run accounting for this type of operation. I didn't know how to be empathetic to certain people's situations and to be able to give just like friendly advice and deal with so many personalities. I didn't know how to hire the right people. There were so many things that I didn't know that I still don't know now, because this is a new road for me. And so every day is a new learning experience. But guess what? I'm extremely resourceful. I use my contacts. I use books. I use videos that are out there. I ask questions to
Mm-hmm.
people that I know are qualified in these areas or these fields. I use my resources. I don't let anything stop me or say that I can't do something, which is why it's such a shock to a lot of people that I'm at the level that I'm at and
Mm,
that I've gotten here in this time frame when they've been working 10 plus years just to get this. Because I'm not waiting around for somebody to come knocking on my door to hand it to me. I'm using my resources and I'm using the tools that are available out here in the world to find out what I need to know.
that's
That would
awesome.
be it. Yep.
Just, in essence, get off your ass and do something about it.
Yep. Exactly.
Chastin, I appreciate you so much coming on to the podcast,
Sure.
man. You
This is
provide so much value, and I'm sure people and listeners are going to love it.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me.
Of course, man. Hey, have a good one, and please stay safe. I hope everything goes well the rest of the year.
Absolutely. You too. Best of
All
luck.
right. Thank you.